Hey, hello everyone. There are two ways to get a PC video game nowadays. One way is, well, we don't talk about that. And the other one is Steam, the biggest video game store on the planet. Sure, there are other store brands out there, I know, but let's be honest, if it's not on Steam, it might as well not exist at all. Even console exclusive made for PlayStation and Xbox will find themselves listed on Steam. And that's saying something. It's saying that even giant studios like Microsoft or Sony just can't pass on the cash grab potential. That is power. Power that belongs to Steam's maker, Valve, which also has some of the most popular PC games and makes Linux-based console SteamDeck that challenges Windows gaming monopoly. And for that, everyone loves Valve. But there is a problem. Valve's power is too great, and Valve will use that power to the detriment of the whole gaming community. I'm going to prove that to you by showing you Valve's historical record and by looking at its future path, both of which should convince you that it doesn't really matter how much you may love Steam right now, Valve is not your friend. Also, I cannot trust YouTube, so please support me on Patreon so that I can be independently, financially independently. I am guaranteed to generate lots of outrage with this one. Valve is universally beloved, so much that it scares me even. It shouldn't be controversial to criticize a brand, but Valve has built up a following that resembles a cult. Valve has this image of an infallible good guy, standing up to the big tech. Any criticism of Valve or Steam is met with dismissal and ridicule. Valve's fans will defend any corporate decision they make, even if it's the same they would scorch other gaming companies for making. Big tech monopoly is bad, but somehow Valve monopoly is good for the customer. Predatory pricing? No big deal. It's the industry standard. Extortion of competition? Good riddance. Dismantling the entire concept of ownership? Harder, daddy. I know that most gamers are not like that, but this is a problem, especially for a company that's on track to monopolize the entire gaming distribution market, and at that point, it will be too late to do anything about it. In the next 6 chapters, you'll understand why Valve's strategy is detrimental to you as a gamer and the entire gaming industry as a whole. Steam is dismantling the whole concept of digital ownership. When you purchase games from Steam, you have to accept the terms that you will never own your games. Your purchase only grants you a temporary, limited license. What does it mean and why does it matter? If you buy something like a DVD or a book, the contents still belong to the copyright owner, but you get to decide what to do with the material. Like, for instance, you can lend it, gift it, or trade it for something else, right? A Steam license is different. It gives you none of that. It's a subscription, not ownership. Subscription, which can be revoked at any moment for virtually any reason that Valve writes down into their terms of service. A subscription means you're not allowed to borrow, lend, gift, or trade games like you could with a physical copy, or, for that matter, any other digital copy you could have before DRM banned happiness. Valve will accept transfers, but only those they allow through Steam itself. No trading or gifting is allowed outside of Steam, but let's be honest, for the most part, inside Steam either. Buying games from Steam is not owning them. Hammer that into your head. You are just renting. There's a tangible difference between an owner and a subscriber. Subscriber is a word that stands for a modern social class that sits just below the peasants. While peasants had the option to buy off their freedom, subscribers will own nothing and be happy. And it's not just about your freedom. If Valve goes under, which can happen at any point in the future, your games are gone. If Valve deletes your account, your games are gone. If Valve sells out and the new owner decides to shut down Valve, your games are gone. If Valve's servers stop validating your keys, your games will eventually stop working too. If Valve doesn't like you, your games will not work for you. If there are things you hate the most about PC gaming today, you can thank Valve for introducing or cementing most of them. Back when humans used to hunt dinosaurs, it was possible to buy a game and just play it without internet access. How revolutionary. Now, even single-player games require internet connection. Seems like all the big studios love this idea, but who should you blame for this? Your good friend Valve. In 2004, which I had to remind everyone was 20 years ago, Valve decided to bundle Half-Life 2 release with the newly launched Steam platform. This game was insanely popular and highly anticipated, so Valve required that every copy of the game, even if it was purchased in a retail store, be authenticated via Steam. It was a genius move for Valve. Of course, it went terribly wrong for the gamers. The authentication process was buggy, painfully slow, and filled with errors that angered a lot of gamers. But for Valve, the seed was successfully planted. The gaming culture would change forever. Welcome to modern gaming. Thank you very much. Valve is like a sexual predator who won't take no for an answer, as if there were predators that would take no for an answer. And I'm only half joking. The other half is even worse. So Valve reserves the right to terminate your account or remove games you bought for any reason. But if you decided that you'd like to return that game, tough cookies. Valve would run Steam without any refund policy at all for more than a decade. In the European Union, where 14-day refund policy is mandatory, Valve would force EU gamers to waive their right to refund upon purchase. Valve only began to offer refunds after EA released their Origin gaming store with a 24-hour refund period. Facing competition, Valve did the right thing. They introduced a 14-day refund policy, which was an improvement. In the gaming world, everyone hates EA and their Origin store, so hate on them as much as your heart desires. They deserve it. But you at least have to thank EA for forcing Valve to do something decent once in a decade. It might have never happened had Valve remained a true monopoly. If you have any complaints, Valve's customer service is anywhere on the spectrum between being somewhat useless and completely non-existent. So Steam monopoly is definitely good for the customer. From any game sold on Steam, Valve takes a flat 30% cut. Why 30%? I don't know. This is a fee that's really hard to understand since the cost of running an online store is essentially zero, especially when you compare it to costs of actually, developing games. Valve and its cult followers will preach 30% is an industry standard, charged even by the big tech, as if being compared to the big tech was a good thing. Yes, I too am flattered when people compare me to Satan. Now all of the big tech platforms are getting sued, investigated, and fined for this monopolistic practice, so please hold on to that comparison. Can you say it some more and louder, please? But it's not even true that 30% is the standard. Both Apple and Google lowered their fees to 15% if the app or game earns less than $1 million a year. Microsoft and Epic Games have reduced their share to 12% on PC games. With Microsoft, it is 30%, but only on digital Xbox games. On Patreon, where I am, the platform fee is between 5 to 12%, and the creators get to choose between multiple fee tiers. Etsy has a flat 6.5 transaction fee and a 15% advertising fee. So excuse me for not having any sympathy when a platform feels entitled to a whole third of someone else's income. It really doesn't cost as much to run a store. Valve is keeping you poor. Valve's taxation is causing inflationary price fixing. Steam is a very powerful platform. Its position on the market is similar to Google or Amazon, which means if you're not selling there, you essentially do not exist. On the PC gaming market, listing on Steam is a necessity even for the big and famous studios like Sony, Ubisoft, or Microsoft, or any other soft. That's power you can't buy.
That's the power of fear.
And Valve knows this, and even though there are many gaming stores, games that sell on Steam have the same pricing on every other store, even though other brands take less of a cut. What gives is Valve's Steam Distribution Agreement, most specifically, the Most Favored Nations provision. Entering this contract with Steam, developers have to agree that the prices for the games will be the same on Steam as on any other store or anywhere else outside of Steam. Valve is being sued for this. Years ago, Wallfire Studio alleged that Steam is engaging in anti-competitive monopolization by enforcing rules that prevent competitive pricing on other stores. Wallfire argued that the price parity across different store brands is evidence of Valve's anti-competitiveness. But Valve countered, Wallfire had no evidence for this conspiracy. But now it appears to be clear, if a developer sells a title for a higher price on Steam than in a competitive store, Valve will threaten to remove their listing. And Valve doesn't just take from game developers. They also tax content creators and artists who contribute skins, mods, and other cosmetic items they sell to other gamers. Valve has a marketplace for this called Steam Workshop, which lets members of the community sell their art and game content in games that support it. Valve takes great pride in how much money they pay out to these Steam Workshop creators, which for some even means livable incomes. But take all of those millions, multiply that by 3, and that's how much Valve pocketed off of creators. That's right, the revenue between Valve and Steam Workshop artists is 75 to 25. What? That is insane. And even more insane was Valve's entitlement when they slashed Dota 2 workshop share all the way down to 5%. Dota 2 is Valve's own title. It's free to play and the most popular game on Steam, which is all a coincidence. Speaking of Dota, this is a perfect case study on what would happen if your friend could make money by screwing you over. In Dota 2, there are regular tournaments where players can compete for real prizes. These prizes are crowdfunded by the community. In 2016, this prize pool exceeded $20 million. But when players give money to this pool, only 25% of it goes for the prize. Valve pockets the remaining 75% for themselves, just because they can. Because Valve is your best friend who will exploit you, extort you, and threaten you whenever there is a chance for them to make more money out of you. I have a couple of honorable mentions of Valve's terrible track record. Steam is terrible for your privacy. It's not just Steam, all gaming stores do this, but Steam is the biggest and deserves the biggest criticism. They are the ones that set the standards and normalized collection of every personal detail of your gaming life for profit. Valve doesn't care about your security. They've been caught ignoring security researchers pointing out severe vulnerabilities in their software. Some white-hat hackers were shut down and silenced in attempts to dismiss privilege-escalating exploits. Valve has a terrible subscriber agreement where you have to waive your rights to class action lawsuits and other forms of arbitration that could stack Valve's liability beyond your individual claims. This, of course, did not prevent attempts to sue Valve for anti-competitive and anti-consumer practices anyway. That is still ongoing, so I'll be watching closely how it transpires. None of these actions from Valve occur in a vacuum. They are part of a pattern that suspiciously fits the description of a rent-seeking monopolist company. Valve may not yet be a dictionary monopoly, but they are sure trying to be one, and what they are doing to get there is already harming the entire gaming industry. That will be part 2 of this investigation, so be sure to subscribe to catch that when it comes out. I am diving much deeper into this on my Patreon podcast, which is free, but you can also support my work financially and unlock even more content. Thanks!